Hello, my name is Dr. Roderick L. Roll, and today I'm going to cover some fundamentals for going to college and finding your major and picking courses. So, the state of Florida requires what is called a general education core. This is a core set of classes that everybody in the state who attend college or the university must take. So I underlined an important statement. One general education core course in each of the subject disciplines of communication, mathematics, social science, humanities, and natural sciences. So there's 5 subject areas. The state regulates this. If you go to a college or if you go to a university, it doesn't matter. They will require you to take a certain set of classes for those 5 disciplines. All I'm going to talk about today is my discipline, which is the natural science. So further down, I underline another statement. In 2023, Senate Bill 266 was modified, creating content standards for each of the 5 general education subject disciplines. Further down on this website, you're able to click on a drop down menu that will give you the general education core courses. So once you click that little where the red arrow is, it'll take you to another link or a file that you can download to your computer. Once you have downloaded it, you can read through it for yourself. I'm only going to focus on the natural science because that's what I teach. So these are the general education core. You can take general biology. So the first one that I have an arrow by is for non-science majors. The name of the course isn't significant. What's significant is the letters and the numbers before it. BSC, X means it can be a 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter. But those last 3 numbers have to be 005. The next one is life science majors should take that one. The name of the course isn't significant. The prefix, the BSC, X means it can be 1, 2, 3, or 5, doesn't matter. But the last numbers have to be 0, 1, 0. Then finally, if you're a health science major, you're going to take something that ends in 085. So this comes from the state. There is no wiggle room with this. We can't manipulate, we can't change. We have to follow the state because we are a university and we're governed by the state. So FGCU took what I just showed you and wrote it and put it in simple terms that college students down here in Southwest Florida can understand. Again, I'm not going to talk about all 5. I'm only going to talk about the natural sciences because that's what I teach. So the first portion I've highlighted with the red underline is non-science majors. They would take a course at FGCU that is called Biological Sciences. Prefix BSC 1005. Remember, the last 3 numbers are the important part that the state cares about. So we created a course. If you take that, you have satisfied one of those requirements. So in natural sciences, to graduate in the state, you have to take at least 6 hours of natural science, whether you're a non-science major or a science major. Non-science major, in that little square, that is what you have to take. You don't have a choice. You have to take one of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of those 6 courses you have to take. Let's go down further. If you're a science major, you see the box for you. These are what you have to take. And this is what's offered at FGCU. Now I'm going to talk about three different majors, and that is those individuals are typically who are in my classes. So I'll first talk about a nursing major. So if you are trying to get a bachelor's degree in nursing, you should be in a class called Human Systems, your first semester. Human Systems is BSC 1020C. That is not a state core class. But why are you taking it? You are taking this course because if you go down to your spring semester where it says year one, MCB 2010 is microbiology. That course has a prerequisite. You have to take some type of biology or human systems. You have to take either one. So if you take human systems, BSC 1020C, that will satisfy one of the other natural science courses that you need. Remember, the state requires you to take the core. That's, you have to take at least one within the square. And then the other ones that you take can be the other ones that were outside of the square. So human systems will be outside of the square, but it is required for you to be able to enroll in microbiology. So that is why you're taking human systems. If you're a nursing major, you might ask, well, I still have to satisfy the state requirement. Absolutely correct. You see where it says human anatomy and physiology, that course is BSc 1085. If we go back and look at that chart, that was one of your core natural sciences that the state required, and it ended in 085. So that would mean you would satisfy the state requirement. So after you take human systems and anatomy 1, you're done with the state requirement of general education. General education, remember, you had to take at least 2 sciences. You would have taken 2. This is what I just explained. If you're a nursing major, this is just another way to look at it. So remember, human anatomy and physiology, the first one, is BSc 1085. That's in that box, which is a state core. The other course, BSc 1020, is one of the other ones that you can take. Remember, you have to satisfy 6 to 9 credits, at least 2. So that would mean you would have 4 for human anatomy and physiology and another 3 for human systems. Another type of person that might take this class is a person majoring in non-science. So some non-science majors: business administration, construction management, accounting, finance, sociology, marketing, and so on. Those individuals, non-science, you would use this yellow portion on this next slide. So in this square, you have to take 005, which is biological sciences. So if you are in human systems and you are a non-science major, you should not be here. Why? Because you have to take one of these courses that is in the square. Well, what if you choose to take human systems? Will it count? It will count as one of the other science classes, but you still have to take one that's in the square. So if you are a non-science major and you're sitting in human systems, I would advise you, strongly advise you, to stop listening to advisors that might have told you to take human systems. Stop listening to your parents that told you to take human systems. Stop listening to your friends who told you to take human systems. Read it for yourself and make sure you understand it. If you take human systems, you're not satisfying what the state says you have to do. You have to take one of these that is in the square that says state core. So if you don't believe the previous slide where that is what FGCU interpreted from the state's verbiage, this is the actual state verbiage. You shall take one of these, I don't know how many, maybe 10, 15 courses under natural science. It has to have these letters and it has to have these numbers. So if you take human systems, it does not satisfy this. But if you take BSC 1005, it satisfies this one that I have highlighted for non-science majors. Ultimately, you have to make the decision. I hope you choose right. Now we're going to conclude with life science majors. They are another cohort that might be taking human systems. Life science majors must successfully pass General Biology 1, which is called BSC 1010, and that course is the foundation for many different life science paths. And these are different life science paths in the picture below. Nutrition is a major, ecology is a major, developmental biology, biology, marine biology, all of these different pathways start with General Biology 1. General Biology 1, BSC 1010C, is a 4-credit course, and it will satisfy the natural science state core requirement. So I have in this picture, I have the state verbiage to the left, and I'm showing you it has to have BSC in the number, in the letters, and it has to have at the last 3, 0, 1, 0. So this course would satisfy the state requirement. Over to the right, this is how FGCU writes it. Same thing. You have to take that if you are a majoring in science, which were one of the ones I just showed you. There's a caveat to this. You must have a GPA that's weighted, that's above 4.2 to come into the university and immediately register for BSC 1010. If your GPA, weighted GPA, is below 4.2, and that number might be a little bit lower, I'll get the actual numbers later, but it's the same concept. If your GPA isn't to a certain standard at FGCU, we're going to strongly recommend that you take 1005 first. Then you can take 1010. The question you might ask is, why am I being forced to take this lower level course? The reason is we have a high failure rate with students that take BSC 1010, which is General Biology 1. And that's not just here at FGCU. I've taught at about 8 different schools before I got to FGCU. And all of those schools had the commonality, which was students always jump into General Biology 1, BSC 1010, and they're not prepared. And because of that, traditionally, we have a very high failure rate. So at FGCU, the failure rate used to be above 50%. At some of the previous schools I taught at, over 60% failed General Biology 1. Now recently, I've arrived at FGCU in 2016. The failure rate was 30%. Now we have strategically worked at, we hired new teachers, we've changed pedagogical approaches, we've done a lot of stuff, and we have reduced that failure rate down to 25%, but it's still too high, still too high. So what we're activating, initiating, what we're pushing through now is that students who do not have a certain GPA must take a lower level course called BSC 1005. Here's the good thing. If you take BSC 1005, you still are getting that state core requirement. Now, it is for non-science, but trust me, a lot of our science majors change their mind. They come to FGCU, they want to major in bio because they want to be a snake specialist, and then they realize they're afraid of snakes and they change their major to accounting. Or they come to FGCU wanting to be a medical doctor and they want to be a surgeon, a neurosurgeon, and they realize after a couple of semesters or a couple of weeks that their hands are very shaky, and they can't steady their hands, and they say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to operate in the cranium with these shaky hands. You know what, I could make more money in marketing, and they change their major. Guess what, if you took the 1005 first, it still counts, and you probably passed it. In conclusion, all other majors take 1005. It's the easier route. The last thing I want to mention is attendance. Ultimately, you decide if you're going to stay in this class or not. But if you stay here in human systems, attendance is very important. So I have two statements here. It is great to see that you have registered and stayed in this class, and I'm excited to have you in this section. As a reminder, attendance is required for you to be successful. You cannot understand the success. You cannot understand and succeed in human systems unless you attend and fully engage with this class. In light of this, you may be administratively withdrawn from this course by Friday if you do not attend during the first week and fail to contact me. So if you are not here the first week and you do not communicate with me, you probably will be withdrawn. All right, so if something's going on, you need to communicate that immediately with me. And that's what this last statement says. All right, I will see you in class, and I'm excited to begin your journey with you.